The end of summer and the beginning of the school year sneaks up on me every single year. But this year, let's be prepared. I have a challenge for you. 6 subjects, 6 questions, 6 words you should know. Back to school edition, whether you are a student or not, whether you are continuing your education or whether maybe you just should be. Are you ready for this? Here's the challenge. Under 5 minutes. Let's go. All right. Number 1. History class. What is the difference between historic and historical? It is time you figure this one out, folks. Historic versus historical. There's a difference to know. Think of Patrick Henry on those steps of St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, with that famous speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." This was a moment that shook the history of the world. Boom! It was historic. Now, it was also historical because it happened in another era. Now, if something is talking or referring to another era, it is historical. Maybe you'll read historical romance novels. That's great. That is different from a historic romance novel. I don't know what that would be. Napoleon, maybe? I don't know. Historic, major world-shattering event. Historical, different time period. Got it? It's time to know that. Okay, history. Check. We got it. Okay, let's turn to science. What is the difference between a venomous snake and a poisonous snake? It's an important distinction. And the good news is only one of them exists. There's only one of them that you need to be afraid of. Or maybe you're braver than me. All right? Here's the trick. There is no such thing as a poisonous snake. Food can be poisonous, chemicals can be poisonous, but not snakes. Snakes have venom, so if you're concerned about them hurting you, you're concerned about the venomous ones. Poisonous ones don't exist. Do you feel better? A little bit? Maybe? I kind of don't, but words help. A little bit, so that's good. Okay, so let's go through history check, science check. Let's turn to art class. When you paint, you have that palette of color. Your palette that holds all of your paints, different from the palette of your mouth, different from a palette that holds all of the boxes at the big box store. Palettes of paint. How do you spell this thing? I am so tired of seeing typos. Palette of paint. P-A-L-E-T-T-E. Okay, that's the only palette spelled that way. Let's get these all right, folks, okay? Okay, art. Check. Let's turn to math, and this writer is going to do something crazy. Let's turn to equations. Let's think of a word where you can say the plural plus the plural equals the singular. This is not actually a confused writer moment in math class. This is true. Plural plus plural equals singular. The word is costs. Let's break it down. Maybe you have the costs of manufacturing plus the costs of labor equals the cost of an entire project. Plural plus plural equals singular. Math, minds blown. I know. Okay, math, check it right off that list. Let's turn to English class. Okay, this is my sweet spot, right? Okay, so let's look at the difference between as and while. Did you know that you should actually be using these two words differently? No one's probably going to be calling you out on this, but it's good to know. As is something you should be using if something happens during a short period of time. As I'm sitting right here right now. Short time, short word. If you're using the word while, it's for something that happened during a longer period of time. For example, while I wrote my book, Get a Grip on Your Grammar, it took a long time. So while I wrote this book, I did many things, okay? As, short. While, long. And the fun little trivia here that you can toss out to your English teachers or your book club or your mom or whoever you're talking to. Did you know there's a typo or a mistake in William Faulkner's book, As I Lay Dying? And the mistake has nothing to do with that wonderful lay versus lie. The mistake is that Addie's death in that book is actually a really long process. As doesn't actually fit. Technically, that book should be called While I Lay Dying. It's true. You know what, though? I'm going to give Faulkner artistic license on that one, so I won't get too upset. Okay, last note. Please, whether you're in the business world, the academic world, or wherever you happen to exist, let's learn the difference between IE and EG. Et tu, Brute? Yes, I am going there. Let's talk Latin. IE means a definition of something in essence. This is where we're going to be talking about the literal translation is that is. So if you're explaining something, that is, here's the definition of that thing I'm talking about. This thing, in essence, this is what it is. It's looking for a definition. Then you have EG, which means for example. You could list all sorts of things categorizing this first larger subject matter. For example, if you're looking for a book on grammar, perhaps one that talks about EG, writing tips, word choice, business etiquette, idioms, punctuation, all of these ideas. For example, here's a great resource for you. IE versus EG. It's time to get it right. It's time to get so much more right than we actually are getting today. All right? Words, language, communication. You've got this.